Out of the earth they came, a mystery born from the soil of medieval England. In a time when the world was mapped with large swaths of unknown territory, and the line between the possible and the impossible was blurred, a story emerged that continues to defy easy explanation, an enigma that has echoed through the ages, the cryptic tale of the Green Children of Woolpit. The year is uncertain, placed by chroniclers somewhere in the middle of the 12th century, during the turbulent reign of either King Stephen or King Henry II. In the heart of Suffolk, England, lies the ancient village of Woolpit, its name derived from the Old English for the deep pits dug to trap wolves. It was a community like any other, its rhythms dictated by the seasons and the church bell. But one day, during the harvest, that rhythm was shattered. Villagers working in the fields were drawn to the edge of one of the wolf pits by strange, unintelligible sounds. Peering inside, they were confronted with an impossible sight. Two small children, a boy and a girl, huddled together in fear. Their clothing was made of a strange, unfamiliar fabric, but it was their skin that struck the villagers with awe and terror. It was a startling, vibrant shade of green. Distressed and disoriented, the children spoke in a torrent of sounds that no one could understand, a language that bore no resemblance to English or any known dialect of the region. They were brought back to the village, an object of intense curiosity and suspicion. In a world steeped in superstition, where tales of fairies and otherworldly beings were whispered by the fireside, the appearance of two green children from a pit in the earth must have felt like a folk tale made manifest. The villagers offered them food, but the children refused everything, weeping with what seemed to be a profound hunger, yet turning away from bread, meat, and all the staples of a medieval diet. For days they starved, until one of the villagers brought in freshly harvested broad beans. To this, and this alone, the children responded, eagerly breaking open the stalks and consuming the raw beans inside. For a time, it was all they would eat. This astonishing event, which could so easily be dismissed as a local legend, was documented by two of the most respected chroniclers of the era, Ralph of Coggeshall and William of Newburgh. These were not tellers of tall tales, but learned men, abbots, and historians dedicated to recording the events of their time. William of Newburgh, in his Historia Rerum Anglicarum, or The History of English Affairs, even stated that he was for a long time skeptical, but was overcome by the weight of so many and such competent witnesses. Their accounts, written decades after the event but based on numerous testimonies, lend a heavy cloak of authenticity to a story that otherwise seems to defy belief. They ground the mystery in the historical record, transforming it from mere folklore into a genuine medieval enigma that challenges our understanding of the world as it was. The children were eventually taken into the home of a local landlord, Sir Richard de Cown. Life in Woolpit was a stark contrast to whatever they had known. Slowly, cautiously, they began to adapt. They were introduced to a more varied diet, and as they started to eat other foods, a remarkable transformation occurred. The startling green hue of their skin began to fade, gradually replaced by a normal, healthy pallor. The change was as inexplicable as their initial appearance. Sadly, the boy, who had always seemed weaker and more melancholic than his sister, sickened and died not long after their arrival. But the girl, who was eventually baptized and given the name Agnes, survived. She adjusted to her new life, learned to speak English, and in time, her native tongue, which she had shared only with her brother, faded from her memory. It was only then, once she had the words to describe her past, that she began to recount the bizarre tale of her origins. She spoke of a subterranean land, a place where the sun never shone, and the people lived in a state of perpetual twilight. She called it St. Martin's Land, and she claimed that in this world everything was green, just as they had been. She and her brother had been tending their father's flock when they heard a loud, captivating sound, like the ringing of bells. Following the sound, they wandered into a cavern and walked through the darkness for a long time, until they emerged, blinking and terrified, into the bright sunlight of the Woolpit fields. The sudden blinding light and the heat of the sun had disoriented them, and they were unable to find their way back to the cavern entrance. Their story of a world beneath our own only deepened the mystery, sparking a debate that has lasted for over 800 years. Over the centuries, numerous hypotheses have been proposed to unravel this cryptic narrative. The most romantic and, for the time, most plausible explanations were rooted in the supernatural. Could the children have been literal fairies, accidentally straying from a subterranean realm into our world? The concept of an underworld, or another dimension, was a cornerstone of folkloric traditions. In this light, the children were not human at all, but visitors from an ancient fairy tale made real, their story an echo of countless legends of hidden kingdoms. This interpretation captures the medieval imagination, a world where the magical was not just possible, but an ever-present force. Yet, as reason and science began to cast a brighter light into the shadowed corners of superstition, more terrestrial explanations emerged. One of the most compelling scientific theories suggests the children were suffering from chlorosis, a severe form of iron deficiency anemia. The condition, often caused by extreme malnutrition, was known as the green sickness because it could give the sufferer's skin a distinct greenish tint. If the children were malnourished to the point of starvation, it could perfectly explain their unusual color and why it faded once they began a normal iron-rich diet. Their initial reliance on raw beans, a good source of nutrients, might have been a desperate act of survival. This medical diagnosis dovetails with another prominent theory, that the children were not from another world, but simply from another part of our own. Some historians propose they were the lost children of Flemish immigrants. During the 12th century, a large community of Flemish weavers and merchants had settled in England. They were often persecuted, and a period of civil strife could have easily resulted in children being orphaned or separated from their families. If two Flemish children, speaking only a dialect of their native tongue, had become lost in the vast Thetford forest near Woolpit, they would have seemed utterly alien to the English-speaking villagers. Malnourished from foraging and wandering, they could have developed chlorosis. Their strange tale of a subterranean world could be a child's confused memory of becoming lost in the dark, dense forest, or perhaps even of wandering through one of the many underground flint mines in the region, with the ringing of bells being the distant sound of a church, drawing them towards an unknown exit. Even accidental poisoning from foraging on unfamiliar plants could have contributed to their condition. The discrepancies in the historical accounts and the sheer strangeness of the girl's narrative keep the debate alive. Each theory, whether otherworldly or mundane, leaves questions unanswered. If they were simply lost children, why did Agnes tell such a specific, fantastical story of a land of twilight? Was it a trauma-induced fantasy, a misunderstood memory, or a genuine account of a place we cannot comprehend? If they were from another realm, what became of St. Martin's Land, and why have no others ever emerged? The truth remains tantalizingly out of reach, hidden in the shadows of time. Here at Echoes of Time, we delve into these cryptic tales, sifting through historical accounts, exploring competing theories, and grappling with mysteries that continue to defy conventional explanation. The story of the Green Children of Woolpit is a perfect example of history's enduring power to mystify and inspire wonder. It is a puzzle box passed down through the centuries, a narrative that forces us to question the boundaries of our own reality. The facts are few, the speculation endless. Don't forget to subscribe to Echoes of Time and hit the notification bell so you never miss our historical explorations. Were the Green Children simply lost, sick immigrants, their story warped by time and superstition? Or were they a fleeting glimpse into a world that lies just beyond our own, their brief appearance in a Suffolk field an echo of a truth far stranger than any fiction?